What's up, psychos? We are going to try something new today. So this YouTube channel is relatively new. I still don't know what I'm doing with it or how it's going to be different from some of my content on the Clock app. You might have seen some of the formatting is weird for some of my videos because I'm like trying to reuse that content. But as I start to move into like full-time author and creator mode, which is hopefully going to be soon, I kind of want to start just making content that's very specific to this channel that you can only get here. I have no idea if this is anything that you guys care about whatsoever, but my channel and I'm going to talk about whatever the I want to talk about. And I want to talk about Ryan's ability to see ghosts in The Mercenary and The Mortician. Now, if you haven't read this book, probably shouldn't watch this video. I'm gonna get pretty spoilery in here. But if you have read this book and you're one of the many people that I've seen saying like, oh, I wish that Ryan's ghost seeing abilities was a more prominent point in this story, then stick around. I was very intentional with Ryan's little superpower, and I don't know, I'm just gonna ramble about what the hell was going on through my head. So I talk about this quite a bit in my endnotes. I don't know how many people bother reading that crap, but I like to kind of go off a little bit about the themes that I was thinking about while I was crafting a story. So I don't know if a lot of my readers know this about me, but I'm what's called a plotter. So before I write a book, I sit down and I plot everything out into an outline.
Keeps coming up over and over again. Every day, Pepe's mail's getting sent back to me. Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. I look in the mail. Well, this whole box is Pepe Sylvia!
There are authors who are what are called pantsers, meaning they like make it up as they go. And then there's plantsers who kind of do a little bit of both. I do not stay completely married to my outline all of the time. Like for example, Hellcat that's coming out in October 1. It's the sequel to Death Trap. This is going to be a duet. And you know, like sometimes my characters just surprise me and I need to go off script. I'd pretty much had Hellcat plotted when I was about halfway through Death Trap, and then a side character that I had made for Death Trap walked into the room and Shem was like, I want to keep him. And I was like, you know what? I agree. I think you should keep him. You guys have a lot of chemistry that I wasn't expecting. And I had to go and replot Hellcat to make sure that Shem got to keep this character without giving any spoilers. So that's just an example of how outlines change. For Merc and Mort, again, I had this pretty much outlined while I was like halfway through Death Trap. There's even a Easter egg in Death Trap. There's a scene in Death Trap where Ramel takes Lilith to a library and the book he chooses for her to read in the bath is actually The Mercenary and the Mortician. So if you haven't read that yet and you go, like, that's just like a fun little Easter egg that I stuck in there. Sorry, I have the raging ADHD. I got a little bit off track, but it's YouTube. I can talk as long as I want about crap. So Ryan seeing ghosts. Why was Ryan's ghost seeing powers not more of a main focus of the book? I had a lot of readers comment that it was like really stressed upon in the beginning. It seemed to become very relevant in the end, but there's like long stretches in the middle of the book where it's less of a prominent theme. It actually is still a very prominent theme. It's just a little bit more esoteric. Ryan's ability to see ghosts is meant to be a metaphor for his ability to see Cal's trauma in a way that nobody else in Cal's life has ever been able to properly see. Callum goes through life with a smile on his face and a bounce in his step. He never wants to burden anybody. He sees himself as the protector, right? Like he takes care of everybody. He takes care of his sisters. He takes care of everything. Vox takes care of him, but in his head, he thinks he's taking care of Vox. Ryan literally says that at one point when he's like, you take care of everybody, but who is taking care of you? Cal being burdened by all of these ghouls from his past is supposed to be like a metaphor for his trauma, right? So Ryan's ability to see ghosts is less about like, ooh, fun ghost drama, and it's more supposed to be used as like a poetic device to show how Ryan has this unique ability to like completely see Cal for exactly who he is. Ryan is not fooled by Cal's bullshit, like his mask basically that he puts on to hide how hurt he is on the inside, because Cal's pain is literally screaming at Ryan in the face. Cal's pain is literally hurting Ryan. Like you literally see it in the scene where Cal forgets his little talisman and all of the ghosts are like passing through Ryan. The fact that Ryan doesn't see ghosts or the ghosts aren't present through much of Cal's healing arc because he has the talisman that Ryan's mom gave him is meant to be symbolic of the fact that he's safe with Ryan. The ghosts can't get to him because Ryan is protecting him by asking him to wear that talisman. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's still a theme. Just because the ghosts aren't like there, it's all done very intentionally. Then at the end, when Cal is in grave danger and he drops the talisman, he's not, like, Ryan's not there to protect him, and he's like the trauma of his past meets the trauma of his future, and everything kind of comes to a head. And then Ryan has to come and literally save him and allow him to move on from his past by helping him shed those ghosts forever. There's also the scene where after Callum has a pretty bad nightmare that's equal parts nightmare, equal parts flashback or memory, I guess. It's a repressed memory that comes in the form of a nightmare of ways that Damien hurt him as like a child. And he's felt this level of guilt his entire life over the death of the first person that Damien killed in front of him. And the ghost of that woman is able to linger by the door. Again, she can't come too close because Ryan is protecting Cal, but Ryan is able to alleviate that guilt for Cal because of his ability to see ghosts. And again, if Ryan couldn't see ghosts, he wouldn't have been able to see Gavin. I'm sure they would have found Cal at Apex, but shit would have gone pretty bad. Like, it would have taken way longer for them to save Naomi. Taken way longer to save Cal. Who knows what would have happened. So Ryan's ability to see ghosts, like, it was never meant to be this huge like drama part of the story. It was always meant to be this kind of like underlying metaphor for how Ryan has this unique and special ability to see and dismantle Cal's trauma in a way that nobody else can, if that makes sense. This book is full of themes like that, like themes of grief, themes of trauma. Like, I really wanted to explore the complex nature of grief, especially grief surrounding people who might have hurt us. You see that with the little girl who's very upset at the funeral for her father. Like, it's clear that obviously her father wasn't a very nice man, and Cal lets her know that it's okay to still mourn even if he hurt you, because it's just like grieving is very complicated, and it's especially even more complicated if the person that you're grieving hurt you, because you feel guilty, like, I shouldn't be grieving this person that hurt me. But the thing about grief is you're the person suffering through it, you're the person trying to heal from it. Whatever feelings you have while you're grieving are valid, and they need to be like addressed and felt properly, and you shouldn't feel any guilt or feel like there's any like right or wrong way to grieve. And that's kind of what I was trying to get through in this book, if that makes any sense. I also reiterated that with Joanna at the end there. Like, you see she still had this very complicated relationship with her family who doesn't accept her for who she is at all, and she has very complicated feelings about this man who is controlling her and invalidating her passing away. And Cal, again, is this Cal, as happy as he is an expert at grief. Like, Cal understands loss, he understands pain, he understands trauma, and that's another way that he's like a perfect counterpart to Ryan. Ryan has his own trauma and history, but he doesn't have experience with the complexities of grief. Like, he's lost his father, but the only person that he's really lost in his life is somebody that he loved very much. So it's very difficult for him to connect and relate to people who are grieving people that maybe they had more complicated relationships with. And plus, just Cal is more of a people person in general. Like, it makes a lot of sense for Cal to be like the grief counselor and customer facing portion of Fairview, where Ryan can focus on more of the technical parts of the business. All of this is to say is that like everything was very, very intentional, and I don't know if that like came through very, very obviously in the book, but it was meant to be this kind of background underlying factor that highlights and symbolizes how perfect these two characters are for each other and how necessary they were to help each other like heal and grow. Anyway, I don't know if anybody's even gonna watch this, but I had fun talking about it, and me, McNuggin. I fucking love this book. I think this is still like probably one of my favorite books I've ever written. But on that note, before I lose you, I have another romance coming out. I don't know if you've heard about this one yet, Chasing Riddick. This is coming out July 20th. It's 2025 right now. The internet is forever, so who knows when you're watching this video, but July 20th, 2025, this is coming out. If it's past that date, you can go and read it right now. It's on KU. Like, this book is gonna leave you staring at a freaking wall. This book is like 90% surf summer fun and then 10% emotional damage. Like, I, at this point, before launch, have 100% cry rate. This is like a surfing romance, but again, much like we just talked about, there's surfing in it, but there's a lot of underlying tones and themes of grief, healing. You know me, I can't just write a normal book. It has to be a little bit, something a little bit more. So read this. I would love to know what you think about it. I'm very proud of this book as well too. I think it's probably some of my best writing ever. Like Cal is so close to my heart. I fucking love Cal. I feel like Finn could probably be Cal's younger, less violent brother. Like they're both high energy. Finn's a little bit more insecure and more inexperienced than Cal. He's younger. But if you love Cal, I think you're really gonna freaking love Finn. And Riddick is daddy, let me tell you. I also think I'm gonna make videos like this about other books that I like. Because I'm an author, I don't really feel comfortable coming on here and giving like in-depth critiques or reviews of other people's work. But what I do want to do is like books that I absolutely loved and like want to do deep dives into things like themes and, you know, underlying character arcs and growth and things like that I've seen. I might more videos like that. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in, because I am a lit minor and I could talk about freaking themes in books until the freaking cows come home. Like I could talk about it all freaking day. So anyways, thanks for coming to my TED Talk, and let me know if you are interested in me doing deeper dives into some of my favorite books. Like it'll always just be books that I really loved. I think I'm literally gonna call the channel like books so good I felt it was worth it to make a long form video talking about how much I loved it, because I'm looking at my bookshelves right now and I've got a couple that I could like talk about for a long time. But anyway, I love you and you're beautiful and stay weird.